Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Paige, this is Seeking Alexandria, and you guys, I'm so excited for today's video. I already went ahead, I have swatched it, I have touched it, but I have yet to put it on my face. We are talking, of course, about the Pat McGrath Mothership Bronze Seduction palette. I am so excited for this, you guys. The colors are so beautiful. Hello, you'll get an up close of these, but like the color scheme, the sparkles, just the overall, like, seduction is the perfect word for this. I'm so excited. So before we jump into it, let's go ahead and read off of their website a little bit of information. Now, this palette, as all Pat McGrath palettes, is very expensive. It is $125. I know. But what I will say is that these shadows are ridiculously good. If you are looking for a high quality, high end shadow, Pat McGrath has never disappointed me. I have loved every palette I've ever played with. I do have a couple of the other Mothership palettes. I love them. I have the little Mothership minis that have like 6 shades in them. Those are also really nice. Like I have, across the board, I've had really good results with these. So, you know, for 10 pans, 125 bucks, you do look at about $12.50 a pan, which is ridiculously expensive. For me, these are more palettes that you buy if you're like really into makeup or like the art of makeup, or you just love like high-end stuff, anything like that. If you're more in it and you're just like, you know what, I love color, I love fun, I really don't think Mothership palettes are worth that investment for you, because you can find a lot of really, really good quality shadows that are more colorful, more fun, palettes that are more well-rounded and more versatile for literally like an umpteenth of the price, just like a tiny little bit of it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the description. I am reading this off of their website. Succumb to the splendor of 10 extravagantly extraterrestrial shades, saturated with pure color and diamond sparkle intensity, ranging from ravishingly radiant rose gold to incendiary crimson and molten metallic bronzes to mesmerizing mattes, presented in a luxurious couture palette. So you do have shades, and then they list all the shades. I'm gonna just go ahead and I will have thrown up the swatches while I was talking there. And here's what I think is cool about these. With Pat McGrath palettes, I love that they never stick to just like the norm. They never stick to what's expected. And I think that that's the beauty of their brand. Everything is very high-end, very luxurious. The price point is way up there, but at the same time, you never sacrifice on even things like the packaging. It's always very nice, bougie, even down to their lip liners. Their lip liners come in a box with the same tie, with a sharpener and everything all together. Granted, they're like $29, but you really always know what you're getting, and just the quality is very present from beginning to end. They're not one of those companies that, you know, gives you a product that you pay a bajillion dollars for and you get it and you're like, wow, that is shitty packaging and awful this and awful that. Like, you really feel the luxury end of this. And by the way, this palette, it weighs like a metric brick ton. It is so nice, and the shadows in here are just ridiculous. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, look at these shadows. And of course, you know, you will have already seen a close-up of these, but I like to show them to you in all kinds of different color lighting, just so you can best get, you know, a really nice representation here. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with these. I think that this palette is so beautiful. And these shadows are per piece about 0.047 ounces a piece, according to the overall weight on the package that lists them at 0.47 ounces. So again, you divide that out over 10, 0.047. So they're not a bad size. They're a tiny bit smaller than a standard Urban Decay. However, with these shadows, that is completely okay with me because they are ridiculously high-end. Again, you don't need a lot to build pigment, at least not in my previous experience. They're just really good quality. So anyways, we are going to go ahead, we are going to play around with this, put them on our eyes, and you will notice that when I went through the swatches of these, I didn't give you shade names, and there's a reason for that. And you want to see the reason? The reason is this. You guys, this to me is so effing annoying. Why are you charging me $125 for a palette and you can't put the effing shade names on a palette? You put them, this to me is the cheapest part of the whole packaging. Pat McGrath, you have it together, everything is great, except the shade names are not on the package. Like, just don't do it. This is stupid to me. I'm sorry. I hate it when anybody, I don't care who you are, when you insert a card into your freaking palette, it to me just reads so cheap and so tacky, and I just don't like it. But with that being said, I think that a lot of people with Pat McGrath, they also love like probably that streamline look where there is nothing on there. It's just really nice, sultry, beautiful, and minimalistic, which is fine if that's your aesthetic. But you know what I mean? Like, either put the shade names on the carton or don't put that in the box. Like, just pick one and be like, you know what? We don't need shade names. We are just damn fancy without them. That's fine. But just don't give me this stupid little card and expect me to be okay with it, because I hate this thing. Anyways, tangent over. That's why you didn't get shade names with them, because if this card comes out, like, how am I supposed to know which direction it goes? And quite frankly, I don't care what the shade names are. I care if they work. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to move you in, and we're just going to have some fun today, because your girl needs some fun. And where is my makeup wipe? Because I'm also already wearing about all of these colors on my freaking shirt, and I didn't think about that until I looked down and saw them. Whoops. Okay, so now that you guys are good and zoomed in, there is one other thing I wanted to mention. I feel like this very first shade in the palette, this guy right up here, you probably couldn't see it very well. It was the one closest to the front of my arm, like closest coming in this way, and it just did not show up very well on my skin tone. So I wanted to swatch it one more time just so you guys could see it. It is a really nice, pretty reflect, but for some reason it's a very dull reflect for me. It doesn't show up like really intensely. Might just be because I'm super fair, but I just wanted to make sure that I showed you guys that because I feel like it didn't show up very well in the swatch. So, okay, let's go ahead and grab, it's a very neutrally palette. Oh my God. But you guys, like, I feel like Pat McGrath can take a very neutral, seemingly like meh palette and just make the quality out of this frickin' world. So sexy. Okay. I do think I want to just start with a little crease definition, because you do get what appears to be like I would say three solid shimmers, a couple of ones that are more like toppers, like these guys right here. They're very just thin kind of feeling. The interesting thing about Pat McGrath shadows, in my opinion, is that they are very different textured. Like her mattes are just buttery smooth, and they feel so amazing and so luxurious. To touch them is just like touching velvet, honestly. And then you move into the shimmers, which feel very dense and amazing. Like this red one right here is a shimmer, and it feels so beautiful and sexy and sultry, and it's just like the shine and the overall wow factor is like to 1,000. But then what I love more than anything is that in her palettes, standard 9 times out of 10, you end up with this third texture, and it's more like a loose glitter kind of texture, which is these guys right over here. And when you swatch them, you can feel like the glitter reflect to them, but they feel so beautiful and buttery, and like the shine is so real, but on your lid, when you stack them up on top of a glitter glue or whatever, they just look so popping. Like they are unlike any other glitter formula that I've ever felt in a pan like this, because they feel like glitter to the touch, but they reflect like shimmer with glitter built into it. It's the craziest thing. So I did want to go through real quick and give you guys a swatch of each texture, just so you can kind of see them compared to each other, because I feel like it's something not many people talk about. But right here you have the red one, which is obviously a solid state shimmer, just a beautiful, sultry, sexy, all the way through kind of shimmer, followed up with this guy right here, which is much more of just that glitter suspended type texture. And then of course you have the matte version over here, and even her mattes are so almost satiny, but they feel velvety and soft and smooth. And just overall, the three of these, while they look so completely different from one to the next, they go on together so seamlessly and so beautiful, like life-changing. So I am going to start by going off with this lighter brown right here, and I'm going to start just really standard working that one into the crease, but I'm going to be doing that on the diffused crease brush by Sigma. This is their E38 brush, and I'm taking it because I want to really have control over this eyeshadow. These eyeshadows have so much pigment that if you are not careful, you will end up biting yourself. You'll end up fighting yourself the entire way, because again, they go on and like, look at instantly you have the color you want, you have payoff, you have blendability. They're just beautiful. And so anytime I go in with a Pat McGrath shadow, I always go in with a tighter fluffy brush, so it's like semi-fluffy, and I lay down a color first just to help kind of start that working in process. Then I like to go in with one that is much, much fluffier. This is the Morphe E27, and I'll go in with that same color now, and I go through and I kind of work it into it a little bit more. But because I went in with the first shade or the first brush, it actually helped kind of concentrate it to that area, and then this brush just diffuses it. So it's just a really, really like double back way of making sure that you are getting not only a good, smooth, diffused color, but that you're only putting on the color that you need. Because I feel like, especially if you're like me, I have a tendency of going in very heavy-handed very quickly with crease colors. And if you do that with a Pat McGrath shadow, be warned, because you will have a very difficult time. These things have so much pigment to them, and they're just so buttery smooth and soft and amazing. Oh my God, I love these things so much. Oh, and I did, by the way, I'm such a good beauty guru. I did prime and prep my lids. I primed them with the Urban Decay Primer Potion in Eden. I love this one. And then I set it down with my Maybelline Fit Me Translucent Powder in 05 Fair. So that's what's over here already. But just so you guys know, I did prime and prep my eyeballs because I like to have primed and prepped eyeballs. Oh my God, like it's just, the blend is just ridiculous. Okay, so now I want to go in and I want to deepen up the inner and outer corners of this. I'm thinking, you know what? No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to deepen up just the outer V. So with the other dark brown shade in here, which is this guy. So we went in first with this one. Now we're going here, and keeping in mind that this, and this, those three shades in that V right there, those are the only three matte shades you're going to get in this palette. Excuse me, come back. Thank you. So whatever you're planning to do, make sure you plan it around those three crease colors, which I think is kind of nice because they give you like a purpley base, which is really nice, like that deep smoke out midnight kind of look, and then they give you a dark brown as well as a light brown, which the light brown will work with either of them. So I'm a big fan of, at least if they only gave you three crease colors, at least they gave you three crease colors that will work really nicely for, you know, a variety of looks, which is nice. So anyways, okay, I'm going to go back in with that original Sigma E38 brush, and I'm going to grab that dark brown shade, and I'm going to work on deepening up this outer V area right here. And I'm only really adding it with this brush. I'm not doing too much working with this because this brush is very short, and so when I move it around, you can probably tell in the crease, it'll actually make my eye skip, which you don't want. It actually helps create those lines right there that nobody wants in their eyeshadow look. So I like to use this brush mainly just to set the color and lightly fluff it around, and then I go back in with that fluffy Morphe brush. And this is something where if you feel like your lids, like how when I blend, my whole lid space kind of moves around because I just have really, I don't know, wiggly lids, fat lids, I don't know. But because of that, my lids do move around a lot, and that's very undesirable in the makeup world. So it helps a lot to have a brush like this one that places the shadow, and then a fluffy brush that you can always kind of work it around with and just really work the color out with. It makes a big difference. Now, for this eye look, I'm going to be doing a cut crease, so I don't care as much if there's a skipping like up through here a little bit. But, you know, if you are doing an eye look where that will make a big difference, definitely something to keep in mind. Okay, so now that we are here, we are blended, we are looking sexy and chocolate, we are going to grab the Tarte Shape Tape. Any concealer will work, whatever you normally use, but I use this in the shade Fair, and I am going to make myself a little cut crease because I haven't done one in a hot minute, and I feel like it'll be fun to do a little cut crease. Nothing exciting here, yo. So I say this in every video that I do a cut crease, you guys, but be mindful of your eye shape. Make sure you do what is flattering for you, not what is flattering for me. You can see that my cut crease does go up very, very high, but that is because when I look at you, I have very hooded eyelids. So I like to take my cut crease just a little bit higher than my actual crease, just so you can kind of see it poke out and around when, you know, I'm just wearing my cute little face. So it's something that I do. If you don't have super hooded eyes or you have really nice lid space, you won't have to do this, but make sure that whatever you do is always flattering for your eye. Do not try to match an eye look or a cut crease shape that somebody else does just because it looks good on them, just because that doesn't necessarily mean it will look good on you. And you don't ever have to feel like, I used to think that I couldn't do a cut crease because I was like, my lids are too hooded, it's not going to look good, it's going to look bad, da, 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 da. And now that I do them, they're one of my all-time favorite looks. I think they're so pretty and so elegant and clean and crisp. And if I had never done them on myself because I have hooded eyes, I would have been like, oh, I can't wear those. And instead I'm like, bitch, I rock those. So I love it. This is where we are at right now. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to obviously cover it up with some shadow. So for the inner portion of this cut crease right here, to fill it in, I'm actually going to start in the inner eye with this guy right here and then move in with this gold shade and fade it out to that nice brown outer V that we have. And I'm going to do this on this same brush that I was already using. And we're just going to take that first shimmer shade. I'm going to try applying it after I repat that out. Hello, wrinkly, creasy eyelid. But I'm going to try it with a brush just because it helps you really get in that corner nice and even. But if not, you can always use your finger for this, whatever works. I just love the effect that you get with it. Like, it's just, oh my God, it's so pretty. Like, look at that. Oh my God, that shimmer is ridiculous. I was so excited that so many of you guys were excited for this palette. You have no idea. Like, I'm always afraid whenever I want to, like, play around with a palette that's this expensive that, you know, everybody's going to, oh my God, that's so expensive, don't buy that. But, like, Oh, I'm so glad that so many of you are just like, yes, play with it. Because I'm like, yes, I must play with the palette. And you could keep going. You could do this whole color all over your lid. Honestly, this color builds up so beautifully. It works beautiful. Like, they're glittery shades like this. They work so nice as like an all over lid like this, or you can use them as just a glitter topper, and they're really beautiful like that as well. Now I'm just going to take this brush and I'm literally just going to like wipe it off on my hand because I'm lazy. And I'm going to go in with that gold shade next, and I am going to pat that over the rest of that concealered area and fade the two together. This is so pretty. So pretty. Honestly, I always look for any excuse I can find to play with my Pat McGrath shadows because they're so good. And it's interesting too because I said it earlier, like, they have a way of making a really neutral, boring palette not boring, which is crazy to me because I go in on brands that do not make like really super fun palettes. I'm always like, oh, this is just another neutral palette, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to Pat McGrath shadows, I'm like, oh, maybe I do need that neutral palette. Oh my God. And then with no product or anything on my brush, or you can use your finger, whatever, I just like to go in and mix those two worlds together. Sometimes go in with a little bit more of that inner corner area, but you want to blend the two together so that you can't see like a line. You don't want to see where this one ended and where this one started, like right in here. You don't want to see any harsh line right in there. You just want to fade the two together really nicely. And then we're going to go back in with that Morphe E27 brush, and we're going to take that dark, dark matte brown, and we are going to kind of re-pat it on this outer V just a little bit right in here and give that nice beautiful golden shimmer somewhere to fade off into, because again, the whole idea of this look is to create a beautiful seamless fade. And if you don't go in and re-powder and kind of re-deepen up the outer V, you lose that really beautiful fade effect. And we worked too hard on that cut crease to lose that fade effect, girl. Yes, we did. Oh my God, that's so gorgeous. Now I am going to go in with a clean Morphe R38 brush. It's just a fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into that light brown shade very, very light-handedly, and I'm going to use that to kind of go up here and just diffuse this whole upper area, make sure that everything has a good fade to it. And a lot of times I would use a cream shade in any palette, but this palette just doesn't have that cream shade. But because these Pat McGrath shadows blend so nicely, I just go ahead and I can take whatever the lightest crease color I had was and just fade it up really lightly with a clean brush, and you do get the same effect. Now this is something I don't do in every eye look, but I do want to just play around with a little bit. So this is a Morphe Y22 brush. It's just a very nice kind of pencil-y tipped brush, and I want to take the the lighter brown, and I want to trace it right above this cut crease right here, just to add back a little bit of depth into the cut, because a cut crease, when you do one, it's supposed to look like you literally carved out of another color, and if you lose the definition of that color right by where you started the cut right up in here, you lose that effect. And so I like to take it and kind of, I'll pull it down a little bit, and I just pull it all the way through as close as I can get it, right tight up to that cut crease. And it doesn't mess with the fade, it doesn't mess with anything else, but it just adds to that illusion, that depth, and it helps make everything just a little bit shinier, a little bit more lustrous, because you've added back, excuse me, cat, no more. Because when you add back in that that dense, nice chocolate brown color next to the shimmer, you've upped the contrast. And when you up the contrast between a matte and a shimmer, you make that shimmer just that much more poppable. And then I will go in with that fluffy brush that had no product on it, and I'll just lightly blend the two. Little one, you are so talkative today. It's really starting to get on Mama's nerves. You know what, you guys, on that pencil brush, I'm just going to grab a little tiny bit of this nice white glittery sparkle shade, and I want to take that and place it kind of over top of this area in the inner V. I just want to see if I can brighten that area up. It looks really nice. I just want to see how this looks on top of that shade. Oh wow, see, it adds just an extra little bit of sparkle. Just like such a subtle difference, but so pretty. Oh my gosh. That's honestly like the tagline for Pat McGrath. Subtle differences, but pretty. Okay, real quick, you guys, let me run ahead. I'm going to finish up my face, do this eye, and then I want to come back and have some final thoughts with you on this palette. So hang tight. Let me go ahead and go finish this up because I don't want to go through my day looking like this, and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, I went ahead. I got the rest of my face on. Finally, it was a hot minute. I went in with these little freaking Ardell, like the little mini lashes, you know, and I couldn't make them work. For some reason, I was just having a hell of a time. Then my eye started to leak, and I was just like, sweet Jesus, please send somebody because I need some help. So I'm very glad that everything is on and we are ready to wrap this up. So let's talk this Pat McGrath palette. Now, I have to be honest with you guys, I actually really like this palette, and I was nervous, and I've said this a couple times in jest throughout this video, but I'm always nervous when I review something that is so insanely expensive, but also very like normal, neutral, not overly exciting. Little one, I will deal with you later. And I think that this palette, the reason that I like it so much is because they do such a beautiful job at taking normal and elevating it to that next level. So as you've seen, you know, it does have those nice neutral colors in there, those nice normal pops. You have this really beautiful poppy red color, like things like that that are relatively normal but also kind of neutral. But I think what sets this palette apart and the overall like way that it's arranged are shades like these ones over here, the one that I worked into my inner crease or inner VI portion right in here. It's because they're so like toppered, they're so glittery, they're so metallic, they're so everything, and you are really able to shapeshift so many different things in this palette to make them be whatever else you want them to be. And I've also used, fun fact, the Pat McGrath matte shadows. I have used those as faux liners before because they are so creamy and so velvety smooth that they actually go on and they create like a beautiful kind of light wispy line if you're looking for that faux lined effect. They're just really, really beautiful. They work great upper lash line, lower lash line. I also did take on my lower lash line and I tried to smudge out just a little bit of this red shade underneath of there, and it actually worked really, really beautifully. I went ahead and I went in with the dark brown shade. I smudged that up close to the lower lash line. I took a little bit of the red shade, smudged that right underneath of the dark brown, and then underneath of that I smudged both of those out with the lighter brown just to give it a little bit of that like reddish like poppy kind of color, but I didn't want it to be too overbearing. And I love that with their shimmer formula, they're so buttery smooth, and to have a shimmer mix that beautifully and seamlessly with a matte shade I just think is completely magical. You guys, I have no qualms with this palette. Obviously the price is ridiculous, but for what you get, if you are into the high-end side, if you love Pat McGrath, whenever it comes to a review like this for this type of palette, what I'm really here for is to tell you, is the formula consistent? Are the formulas for all three different textures, are they consistent? Is this what we have come to know and love from Pat McGrath? And honestly, 100% yes it is. I really love it, and I'm very excited that I now have it to play with because I have been obsessed with fun neutral eyes lately, and I've been really loving like playing on the brink of where neutral meets a little bit more like sophisticated. Like I either want no makeup on my face, very calm, very chill, no makeup, or I love something like this where it's like, oh, I elevated it a little bit, I have like a slight cut crease, I have a slight this, but there's still no lashes, so it's like right at that in-between cusp where you look good, you look put together, but like at the same time you look very just centered and organized. I don't know, I just really like that look overall. I've really been loving it. Now real quick for the other products on my face, because I'm sure you guys are curious, for bronzer I did go in with this bronzer right here. This is in the CoverGirl Peach Punch highlight palette. I just really love this bronzer. It's really nice. For highlight I went in, I'm very busy. For highlight, I went in with the Physicians Formula Natural Nude Brick, and I mixed around these lighter shades right here, just because I wanted like a nice golden flush, but I also wanted that pop that the white in there kind of gives you, and that highlight I have been loving. And then for blush, you guys, I went in with this guy right here. This is the new Tarte Blush Clutch palette. I will link it right up here. I actually did a full video and review of the new Tarte items that they released for Christmas. This one, the big palette, there's just a bunch of stuff that Tarte released, and I went in with the shade Passport for blush because I wanted like a nice mauve-y toned kind of blush, and I love this option, and it's a beautiful blush. And then for lips, I actually went in with this crayon right here, which I haven't used this in so long. This is the Maybelline Color Drama Color Show in 630. These were actually not released to the States, and I ordered these, I want to say from like the UK when they were released, because we didn't get them, but I love these so much. They're so creamy, and I found it in my drawer the other day, and I was like, it would go so well with this look. It's like a perfect creamy nude color, and I don't know, I love this formula. But again, they weren't released here in the States, so I apologize. But then over top of that, I went in with a little bit of the Morphe gloss in Flower Crown, just in the dead center, because it's a nice like lighter, super light, sultry kind of gloss, and I just wanted a little pop of color. So anyways, you guys, that is everything that is on my face right now. I really enjoy it. I'm loving everything, how it kind of comes together, how it has that nice shift to it. And I was really impressed with these shadows because my eyes, like, they went through it today, like went through it while I was trying to put all my makeup on, and I just loved the way that these shadows stuck through it. They didn't have any issues blending, and on this side I actually went in with other brushes, and I always try to do, you know, a little bit different for each eye so I can keep testing the shadows, and everything blended beautifully. I had no issues, no patchy, no pulling, no nothing, and they just blend out amazingly. I love them so much. Pat McGrath shadows, you get my huge thumbs up. I love this palette, and you guys, if you like this video, please don't forget, thumbs up, comment down below, let me know your thoughts. There is a ton of fun stuff coming this week, and I'm just really excited again. And if you are not subscribed, you should be, because I put up new videos Monday through Friday, always really early. I get up super early, so they go up at like right around 6 a.m. my time, which is Northern Michigan time, which is like, oh my god, early. For some of you, that's like 3 a.m., so you're welcome. But yes, please don't forget, comment, like, and subscribe down below, and also please do not forget to have a great day, night, weekend, whatever it is when you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Look at my pretty palette. Don't drop it because it's so pretty. Look at my cut crease. It says that in the description, it says, succumb to the splendor of 10 Succumb to the splendor of 10 extravagantly, why can I not speak extravagantly? The interesting thing about Pat McGrath, I like my Pat McGrath Mothership palette, Mothership palette, Mothership palette. Like, seriously, how are you not obsessed with my cut crease? Everybody should be obsessed with this cut crease, because it's pretty. I love it. I love it so much.